What I'm now looking at is the direct line of the planned extension to the Docklands Light Railway, which basically comes underneath the River Roding, which is where you see the small flood barrier at the far end. The blue shed at the very far end of the site is the far western boundary, so we're now 2.5 kilometres away from there. And the Docklands Light Railway will come through, weave its way through the development, giving good access with 3 stations to the new community.
I said right at the beginning when they launched the idea of eco-towns mustn't become eco-islands. I think it's essential that people see the connection and the connectivity between these new places and the infrastructure that they need to bring with them to existing communities. I think that's the answer in terms of getting existing communities to actually welcome and want eco-towns to be built on their doorstep.
We're not talking about enclosed, inward-looking, dungaree-wearing, go away, I'm enjoying myself, this is only for me type of community. We're talking about places which would be networked. They would be joined to nearby towns and villages by excellent public transport. People will commute out to work, and some will commute in. People will go out to the theatre, they'll go out to the countryside, they'll go off to college and they'll go to high school, and that may involve transportation, and travel broadens the mind. We like travel, but it's travel by public transport, and we're adding to the cluster of towns and villages in England. We're not trying to make a self-contained, self-sufficient community, which I think would be terribly repressive.
So most developers, in their attempt to deliver zero-carbon homes, are focusing purely on the fabric of the buildings. So we think as much about where people might get their food from, how we can increase recycling rates, how we can reduce car dependence and get people walking and cycling more. And in that way, we create not only a low-carbon future for our residents, but also what we believe will be a much happier and healthier lifestyle.
There's so much building and so much development going on that we ought to be able to plan in for that kind of service delivery from the very outset. In fact, I think what we've been guilty of is that we have tended to think that these are extras, which if a scheme in due course can afford, then we will bring them in at that point. And so we make weak commitments at the beginning of construction, the beginning of implementation of projects, with the hope that we'll catch up later, and of course you never do.
Rather than building a coal-fired power station in Kent and hiking the electricity down 60 miles of copper cables, and they're going to be exposed to the increasing storms that we're going to see as a result of climate change, what they need to do is to invest that money in developing heat and power networks and in the infrastructure such as combined heat and power units and these energy from waste schemes.
You look out of this window and you can see all that sort of industrial dross and think, my goodness, but actually that's one of our greatest opportunities. The 2 grey towers there, for example, is a gas-fired power station that's currently generating power, burning gas and dumping its byproduct, which is hot water, into the Thames at 35 degrees and paying to do it. So therefore what we're planning on doing is tapping that off at a higher temperature, and then we use that to drive at least 11,000 homes. So this is all about getting the best use of what you've got.
People aren't really getting an idea of what a wonderful lifestyle opportunity these ecotowns could represent. And by that I mean the potential for working from home and having a fantastic IT network with a local satellite centre, having fantastic public transport on your doorstep with real-time information, so it takes 3 minutes for the bus to arrive down the road. Those kinds of opportunities present a whole new way of life and quality of life for potential occupants.